Hey there guys, welcome to Anthony Reviews, where Anthony reviews. A little under a year ago, I took a look at the HasLab G.I. Joe Sky Striker. And now, to follow that up, we are on our second G.I. Joe HasLab, that being the classified HISS tank. Now, the HISS tank is probably one of the more iconic vehicles from the G.I. Joe brand in general. So to kind of get that in a 6-inch scale, coming from the HasLab project, is pretty exciting if you ask me. With a tank this big, I knew that I had to get in on it. So I'm very excited to go ahead and open this box and get a first look at the HasLab in hand. The box comes with 4 figures in total, 3 of which are sort of your standard G.I. Joe classified figures that you would expect to come with the HISS tank, specifically designed for the HISS tank itself. And then the last figure is a bit more of a bonus, if you will. That being the Mickey Mouse Cobra Commander, a sort of throwback to an ancient version of Cobra Commander with a weird logo. Once again, we do have these figures with a new figure, that being the HISS Tactician. And with this Cobra Commander, it's kind of unique. It's kind of a weird gimmick. I'm hoping to see the regular version released in the main line at some point. For what you get in the box, you do get quite a bit. While the HISS tank itself is pretty much all in one piece, there are enough different pieces to make it feel like you're getting something premium, I would say. Now, when I got the Sky Striker, it was definitely in a lot more pieces, a lot more building to be done, but with this one, it's mainly just all of the attachments that have to go on to the tank itself. Still, it does feel like you get quite a bit for your buck. You also do get some instructions here, pretty simple, straightforward, just showing you all the different pieces, how they attach, all that kind of stuff. Like I said, pretty straightforward. And then on the back here we see the lights effects that we'll be seeing later in the video. We also do get stickers. Now, personally, I'm not really a stickers guy. If you watched my Sky Striker video, I wasn't a fan of those stickers here. So you do get stickers, but I think the HISS tank is fine by itself. I won't be using them. So here's another look at the HISS tank. It's quite large, though it is a bit light since it is mostly plastic. On the bottom here, as you can see, this is the compartment for the batteries. All you need is 3 AA batteries. You just unscrew the bottom, pull it off, and that's where the batteries go inside for your nice light features. To activate the lights here, you simply just push a button. You press it a number of times. Each time you press it, you do get a different combination of lights. So whether that be just a logo, some high beams, if you will, various things, which all look pretty cool, not gonna lie. The interior of the cockpit also does light up, as you can see here, so you get a nice display with all sorts of radar and maps and all sorts of stuff. Here's a nice interior look at the cockpit with its leather detailing on the seats, its straps, all its little bells and whistles. It's pretty good for what it is. There's also the interior of, I guess, the turret section. Pretty simple. And then, of course, you do have the back, which you can just pull open. And there you go. You can get a light to kind of see inside. It's a little cramped, a little bit like a closet, but I guess, you know, that's not really the selling point, even though there are features to be had that we'll look at later. The chair is adjustable, which is cool. And then on the side here, we do have a ladder, a little bit of resistance on it, but it does work. Once again, if you look at the turret here, we can start attaching some of the pieces. You'll see holes, and on the items, you'll see pegs. You just sort of match up the pegs to the holes, and I guess you get it. It does rotate on the top here very nicely. The more you rotate it, the more easy it is to remove. And the turret itself does move up and down. So you get a little bit of, I guess, variety, if you will, with the turret. You do have an extra piece here if you kind of want to give your sort of gunner a bit more shielding. There's little sort of pieces here. You slide in. Probably what I would recommend is removing the turret. That way you can slide it into the piece. Very simple. Just sort of look for the grooves. Another thing here is you can see we have some more holes to fill, and that's where these sort of side arms go. We've got some guns to put on there, so I guess if the driver, or rather the gunner, wants a little bit more firearm action, maybe someone's a bit closer, they can hop onto these and use this ammo to plug into the sides and start firing away. It does give it a very heavy, loaded look, doesn't it? Down below, you'll see that there's like a little thing that looks like a button, when in actuality, it is a piece to sort of plug in an extra bit. And I like this about it. So it's like if you don't want to have this extra little turret piece, you don't have to. There's not a big gaping hole in your HISS tank. Another thing here is we sort of have the tread covers. We have these which are a bit more retro, a bit more classic, if you will. So you have that option. You just plug them into the sort of wheels. And then you have this one, which is a bit more classified, a little bit more modern, which is how I will have the HISS tank displayed. Just because it is a classified HISS tank, after all. This little cap here does sort of look like a gas cap, but it actually is another piece where you can open that up and add attachments to it. We have these sort of missile launchers on the side, and so if you don't want them on there, just have it closed. But if you do, open it up, plug it in. It's very, very simple. It can rotate, and the missiles are removable. All the missiles on there are sort of detachable. Very simple, black and red. Not a whole lot of detail going on, but I guess it is what it is. And they do have specific holes, so that way they are pointing the right way. We do get two different canopies, one classic and one new. The classic one here is just straightforward, clear. It's meant to look like the original HISS tank toy. It looks good. I think if you're a sort of classic fan, this is a really nice way to display your HISS tank. It does open up. If you want to get it opening up the whole way, you can move the turret, and then voila, you have an open canopy. Very simple, very straightforward. The classified one, or the modern one, however you want to look at it, a bit more going on. We have these sort of red and black details. It also has hinges on the side, which we'll see here in a second, can open up, so it's a bit more involved. So you have that going for it, which is kind of cool. You know, I guess it makes it feel a bit more modern for those who want it that way. But it still does open up the same way that the previous one did, by just moving up. And there it is with the canopy opened up all the way. And all in all, I mean, this looks like a pretty cool loaded out HISS tank. I wasn't sure about the attachments, but they look good in person. Now let's get into the figures. We got a couple figures. We have the driver here. We have the tactician, as we mentioned earlier. And we do have the gunner, which is a female figure to go with the line. And the Mickey Mouse Cobra Commander will be staying in package. Here's a look at the sort of file card. These figures look really good. I mean, the classified figures all look really nice. They're all really posable. They all come with cool accessories. So together, this does look like a cool team. They even come with alternate hands. So if you want to have them sort of brawling or having some sort of boxing match, I don't know, it's fun. I don't think it needed to be included, but I mean, it's a fun addition for sure. Adds a lot of character. These two figures, the tactician and the driver, are pretty much the same, except for some color differences. That's really it. But it's enough to look different. The gunner, however, is great because she comes with the most unique accessories, with like a shovel and a pickaxe, and it's just a lot of fun. Although the gun that she came with did come bent in box. That's just how I received it out of there. So, I mean, I wasn't going to display her with it, but still, it's a bummer. Here they are next to the tank, and you can really see how just big and massive this thing is. It's beautiful. Taking a look inside for the harness, it's just a sort of peg that you plug into the hole, so you can just slide the guy in there, plug it in, and voila. He can hold on to the joystick, he can hold on to the throttle. There's a lot to like in here. He sits pretty nicely. You may have to sort of finagle it a bit, but as you can see, he fits. And there it is with the canopy down, so you can kind of see what it looks like with a figure inside the HISS tank. The gunner is a lot easier just because it's a figure standing up. You can grip her hands on the sort of controls there. Looks fine. Pretty simple to do. Even though this is a nice figure, it's hard to imagine me using this figure in any other way but this. What can I say? It's a good looking figure on a good looking tank. And yes, of course, the turret can still move if a figure is inside. No problem. Now, of course, what about the tactician? Where does he go, right? Well, I mean, there is a chair inside, so if you want to have him sitting down in this little closet, then you can. You can be waiting patiently to do something. There is also a weapons rack, which is removable. If you get in there and do it just right, you can slide it off. I recommend taking off the top, and then you can kind of pull it off the wall. But you can have all of the weapons displayed on the wall. Nice. There is also a little platform on the back of the tank here, where you can place a figure if you would like to. There are no pegs, but I mean, it's a flat enough surface. You can get a figure sort of balanced on there like I have. It's not super difficult, but it does look good. And that's really the HISS tank. I mean, it's simple in its sort of design, but it does a lot of things right. I think it's a beautiful looking sort of black, red, sort of clean look to it, but it comes with the nice features with the guns and the turrets and the lights, and it just feels alive. You know, like this really does feel like it'll be a centerpiece for a lot of people's collections. And I'm really happy with that. You know, it's kind of hard to sort of talk about with like a HasLab where is it worth as much as it is? You know, it still feels like a toy, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It just doesn't feel like a high-end collectible. It does feel like a 6-inch scale vehicle, which to be fair, that's exactly what it is. This video is brought to you in part by Hobby Link Japan. If you're a fan of things like Super Sentai or just Japanese media in general, why don't you check out Hobby Link Japan? They've got figures, statues, and a whole horde of different kind of collectibles. Click the link down in the description below to check out Hobby Link Japan today. And there you guys go. Those were my thoughts on the HasLab classified HISS tank. Let me know what you guys think of the tank down in the comments below. Feel free to check out some of my other content. Like, subscribe. You can follow me on my socials, link in the description below. But really, that's it. Thank you guys again for watching. Take care.